We just finished London Marathon 2025 and I just missed the time I wanted. I got 2:38.27, so missed it by less than a second per kilometre. And now for my next training block, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I think the first step for me was going to a physio to make sure that I can get everything looked at, just make sure that I'm in the right place to one, start a training block, but two, while it's still so far away, figure out any sort of imbalances or anything that I can work on to really help me get that edge when it comes to the next race.
Hey, my name's Adrian DeCosta. I'm the founder of the Running Room here in the UK. I'm a running and sports physiotherapist, working mainly with runners, triathletes, and anyone crazy who wanted to do some more running on top of that.
And the second thing and most important thing for me as well is also getting my mind right. As nice as it is to go through a full training block and know that physically I'm going to be ready for the marathon, I think one of the biggest things that is so slept on is mentally getting yourself ready for a marathon. It is a very, very long block and it does take its toll physically and mentally. And I think with the physio, it's really going to help. But I've also decided to work with a sports psychologist to help me figure out where I kind of let myself slip a little bit in both the training block and on race day for London, and two, how I can solidify my mind to make sure that when it does come around to Chicago Marathon this year, that I will be as rock solid as possible. I've already had a conversation with the sports psychologist and they have walked me through a few different things that I found super eye-opening. So I just want to talk to you about a couple of them today. One of them was excuses and explanations. They are not the same. I found myself, especially in the London Marathon training block, I was running quite a lot, and a couple of the sessions I just wasn't able to hit the target times that I wanted to hit, and that really knocked my confidence. But I also found myself trying to give myself an excuse. Like, I would excuse the session by saying,
yeah, because I trained like a dickhead yesterday.
I had poor sleep, or I trained legs, or I wasn't as fueled as I needed to be. And I kept saying that I really hate excuses, and he's like, firstly, they're not excuses, they're explanations. You can't expect 100% out of a session if you are only going in the session with a 60% capacity. They are an explanation as to why you didn't get it. It's not an excuse to say that you're tired, or that you had poor sleep, or that you are underfueled. Those are all explanations, and instead of just like dismissing them as excuses and going through this, rock hard mentality of I can just push through any excuse, like, try and sit down and figure out what are these excuses, what are they trying to tell you, and they're actually explanations for the work that you are probably avoiding or missing. And if you can really nail it down, maybe instead of showing up to a session with 60% and expecting 100, reduce your expectation a little bit. So know that you might only get 60% out of that session, and don't beat yourself up for it. Or the other alternative would be to look at those and just be like, okay, well, maybe you can work on your sleep a little bit, maybe you can work on your fueling a little bit, instead of just trying to underfuel, not sleep enough, and still try to perform at your absolute best. So I thought that was really, really eye-opening. For me, it's so easy to beat myself up when it comes to working and training hard, because that's just what I'm used to. That's just the mentality that I've kind of got myself in, and I really did find myself not necessarily enjoying every single run. And longevity in this game, not just in terms of marathons, or I'm just talking running in general, I want to be running for my whole life. So one thing I really don't want to do is dislike it, and if running races is making me feel this way towards it, maybe it's not the running races that's the issue, but my mentality towards the training. So I think working with him this time around is going to really, really get me in the right frame of mind and assist me in trying to be as positive as possible, both towards my training, towards race day. The second thing we obviously spoke about, and I've only spoken to him the one time, but we're going to continue working together throughout this block, so I'll continue to give you the gems that he gives me as we work together. But the other thing was that in London Marathon itself, because of the heat, I was so thrown off of my original game plan, and I found myself like mentally tossing and turning, like, should I speed up, should I slow down, should I be feeling this way, why is my heart rate so high, and all these questions, instead of just listening to my body and going through what I'd normally go through. I was in my head quite a lot, and I think that the goal for the next race is to try and get out of my head and into my body a lot more, because your brain uses a lot of glucose, it uses a lot of energy on thinking, and the less you can think when you're in the doing, the better. So I really want to show up to race day with the strategy, the plan all like figured out, and then not have to think so much when it comes to actually performing, so I can go there with a clear mind. And I think those are the two biggest things that we're going to try and work on, is keeping the joy and the fun in the training block, and then also performing on race day without having to second guess myself, doubt, or try and change strategies on the day. Or even if I do have to change strategies on the day, like, don't overthink it while I'm changing strategies, just commit and then keep it stepping. I've been sent all my physio notes, so I'm just also gonna, I have my laptop just over here, and I'm just gonna walk you through a few of the things that I found out in physio and what I can improve, basically. So without further ado, honestly though, shout out Adrian, one of the most intelligent physios that I've ever gone to, and he just kind of knew everything that I needed to know, and he really gave me the truth, and I need the truth. I think when you are, I'm literally sweating, goodness me. When you are going for like times that you never thought were possible, you need someone that's going to sit you down and tell you, your running form isn't probably the most efficient or greatest, and we can overhaul this, or you can figure out these 1%, and I think that's what me and him are going to work closely on. So I'll keep you up to date with how that physio is going too. We tested 2 different speeds in physio, so my race pace and my easy pace, and he obviously measured my gait. We measured force production and so many other different things, different variables, and I'm sure that it will cut back between me right now and actually being on physio. But I'll just give you my interpretation of what happened. I am quite symmetrical is what we found, but my gait and my running form could be further optimized. And I know the body naturally self-optimizes, but I do think that there are things that we can fix, especially things that he brought up.
Sweet, so we're gonna break it up left and right. I always like to start with initial contact on your sort of like stance phase of your gait cycle. So what we're looking at is that initial point where you're making a little bit of more absorbed, because you can talk about like the feather touch point.
Yeah.
I like to go a little bit further in where you're actually like making a bit of contact and some force application. So you can see at that point there, heel striking, which is completely fine, there's not an issue with it. But what I'm really looking at is like, what does that center of the knee look like versus the center of the ankle? So in an ideal situation, we want what we call a vertical shin line, and that will tell us that typically you're within like a good sort of element where you're not overstriding. So there's a little bit of overstriding happening here, which we tend to see at easy pace a lot with a few faster runners, because it's like you kind of just moving your legs along. It's not like you're having to like pull through and like really drive the train as much. But something for us to clean up on, because we know with overstriding, and if you're going to be doing a lot of mileage going to these next few blocks, 80% of that's going to be at easy pace. You want to make sure that you're being as efficient as possible. You're not overloading areas that don't need to be taking too much overload. Like we know it with overstride, there's got a lot of force that's going to break at the knee, a lot that's going to break at the hip. So we're going to try and just work on cleaning that up a little bit.
Also found that my arm swings quite a lot, one arm more than the other, and I think that was from basically running three and a half years with my phone in my hand. With that additional weight, it kind of adds up over multiple miles, or years of miles I should say. The actual report itself seems positive, and for me I was so grateful that I had so much to work on, because if I went to Adrian and he told me, oh, you're absolutely fine, like, you know, you're a very efficient runner and there wouldn't be much that I can correct, that would make me feel like, okay, cool, the only thing between me and the next time is literally my training block. So it is nice that I have so much that I can work on, these little micro adjustments that will help me hopefully in the long game over the next 16 or so weeks get the best possible time. So I'm so glad that there are so many things wrong with my running form, because as soon as I start to fix them, I'm hoping to see a bit more of an efficiency improvement and a bit more return per step. We also found them very right leg dominant. You know, if you watch some elites run, you'd find a lot of them overpronate, which I massively do as well. It looks like my ankles are going to snap off if anyone's ever seen footage of me running. If not, try and find footage of me running on like London Marathon, for example. You'll see that I definitely overpronate quite a lot, but that isn't necessarily an issue because it doesn't cause me any ankle or knee pains. So that is not something we're looking to fix, but definitely the overstriding and the heel striking can give me a more efficient turnover if I stop that, if I land like under my body or like my weight rather than in front, because as you're landing, and if you're going to land with your heel overstriding, you're kind of applying the brakes, if that makes any sense. So we're going to work on trying to land underneath and then push off rather than in front, braking and then pushing off, and that over 42.2 kilometers can make a massive difference. So those are the things that we are going to work on together. I'm very, very glad and very excited that we're able to, that I'm able to work with such professionals in their field. I didn't mention the name of the sports psychologist, sorry, his name is Robin, and me and Adrian are going to work very, very closely together. Robin is part of the Get Ahead application. If you haven't seen it, then download it. They have some really, really sick stuff on the app as well. and I'm going to be working with them, with that whole team, but Robin specifically, to get my mind right for this next marathon, as well as Adrian, get my body right for this next marathon. But if you want to see how that goes, then make sure you stick around, like, comment and subscribe, especially as that helps the channel grow and it allows me to reach more of you guys, to continue to inspire, educate and entertain. I need to pack because I've got a flight to catch, so peace out and I'll catch you in the next one.